This is the Ray Appleton Show.
It is hour number 3 of the Ray Appleton program. Now in its 36th year. God, that's a long time to be doing anything. Never had a real job, though. You know, I say that a lot. Somebody else who doesn't have a real job. No, he's got a butt-busting job, is my friend Marko, who's here. And
believe me, they like to say it's not a real job.
do they? The people you work for?
No, the people at home.
Oh, you're
at a real job.
You get to travel with a rock band. That's not work. That's me. I did it for a little bit, as you know. Marko Bustos is with Tesla, and you're the head technician. Is that correct?
Well, I'm a guitar technician.
Yeah.
There's several different positions. We're all classified as roadies. We were talking about that.
Is that still?
We're all classified
okay
as roadies, but everybody likes to be called by their technical name. So the monitor engineer, house engineer.
Roadies falling from grace a little bit. Huh?
That's kind of like generalizing everybody.
Yeah.
But it's true. We're all roadies.
How long you been doing this?
Oh shoot, man! Steve and I started with Babylon AD I started back in '87 with Babylon AD.
Yeah,
out of the Bay Area.
And how did you get into it?
It was by chance.
For a lot of people, it's like running away and joining the circus.
Right. No, I had graduated from college with a degree in fire science, and go figure, right?
Like me with zoology.
Right. Right. And then I started testing for fire departments, and mainly back in the mid-'80s when Reagan did affirmative action, they were filling their quota of women in the fire department. So, it was a little bit hard, and I wanted to take a break, and a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to go do an album with them in L.A., and I said, sure, why not? And it was Babylon AD, and they were doing their first album, and I basically teched in the studio the whole time. It was just making sure, restringing, making sure guitars were always in tune, intonated, that kind of stuff. It was just, it was something to do to pass time.
Sure.
And we were there for about 6 months, and then they asked me if I wanted to go out on the road, and that's how I started.
About how many miles have you logged with him? Do you keep track of that?
Man, no, I don't.
Have you hit the 1,000,000-mile club
yet?
yet?
I'm sure I've
probably.
I'm sure I've gone
how many
well
countries?
Over. I don't know, several. Probably one of the best ones that I have to say.
They begin
was
to blur
South America.
after a while.
Yeah.
Oh, you like South America?
Oh yeah,
I wasn't
South
big
America
on
was
it.
great.
Yeah.
No, you didn't like it?
Uh-uh.
Oh, yeah,
just,
I liked it.
but
The people, I mean, I went in a different aspect. I don't know. Did you go just as a tourist?
Oh, it's one of our KMJ cruises where I take a bunch of listeners out and all that.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, I don't know why.
No,
I'd always wanted to go. I've been to 129 countries total. Right. But once we got there, I wasn't as impressed as, most people are.
Right.
I just maybe should have paid more attention,
Right. Yeah,
but how much time do you get when you go to a foreign country to fool around a little bit and check things out, or is it just work?
No, we get some time here and there, In South America, I got sick, man. I had a cold. It sucked. I got in Chile. We were in Chile for 3 days, and the whole time I was held up in my room because I was just too sick to go around anyone.
I was gonna ask that. What happens when you're sick?
Yeah, you
just
basically
have to wait it out.
Yeah, unfortunately, when we're on tour and we're in a bus. We're all breathing the same air. Everybody's going to get something.
You don't have like a tour physician,
We do here and there, around the country. We have people that we see if we get sick, Yeah. We have rock docs.
Rock docs.
That's what we call them, rock docs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
We were talking yesterday about all of the deaths that have, befallen the industry.
Oh, yeah.
And, losing Jeff Beck, to me, that was like a part of me went with him.
Yeah,
that would just hurt like hell.
Yeah, Jeff sang with him in Japan a couple of years ago.
Your lead singer.
Yeah. He sang with them in Japan a couple of years ago. That song, Down, Down.
Yeah, going down.
Yeah.
The old Freddie King song.
Right.
I'm going down.
Right.
Down, down, down.
So Jeff was, he really liked him, a lot. And, and they were pals.
Yeah.
I guess at some point.
And then David Crosby. I mean,
Right.
of course, I mean, he made it to the finish line. Who would have thought David Crosby would make it to the finish line and die of natural causes?
Right.
81 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot, it's funny to see a lot of these guys still going, like the Rolling Stones and, Aerosmith.
Charlie Watts, that was another one.
Yeah, that was a shocker, right?
It's like, when do you give up? But, I mean, as long as there's an audience, I guess you don't.
Right. Right.
I mean, your guys aren't exactly young, but
No,
but they're all younger than me. That's a good thing.
Yeah. But, our singer still got it, he's got that Jeff factor.
Yeah, well, he's got to be there because he's the man. He's up front. How many times have his hips been replaced? About 30 or something like that?
No, he's only had one hip replacement.
I thought he had more than that.
That's a funny story all in itself because, he was fooling around one day and he, there was a pole on the stage that was in the, that he was fooling around, making fun, and he did something, stepped wrong and, landed on it wrong, and he was limping for like about 2 years until he actually ended up having it replaced.
Wow.
So
2 years?
2 years.
He couldn't figure that out there. Maybe there's something wrong here.
No, he knew there was something wrong, but the way we tour, you have to have so much time off to recover. I had this, I had to have
yourself. You got your shoulder done.
Yeah, I had my shoulder done, and it still hurts. But you have to have the time to recover. We had 4 months. I said, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because if I only had 2 months, I would have said, forget it. I'll just deal with it.
We're talking about the individuals in the industry passing away, names that we know, but
right.
In your career, a lot of people don't really understand that somebody who starts with somebody usually winds up going all the way with them. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like, guitar tech or whatever.
Right.
They can be with them a long, long, long time. Yeah. And so as you were talking about, some guys, one in particular we both knew, died on the road.
Yes.
That's got to be that's nuts.
Yeah. Usually when somebody passes, the lifer guys, we're going to die out on the road. I think one day I'm going to pass away out on the road.
Well, that's how I feel here with this microphone in front of me.
That's always something that we always think about, we try to, stay healthy, for the most part, if we're feeling sick or ill or something like that, we try to take care of ourselves. Everybody watches out for everybody. But there's just, some guys that are just completely unhealthy, man, and tragedy happens.
Don't do what they should be doing.
I was telling you about Cheap Tricks Tech, Larry, poor guy, man,
He was here in Fresno when we all did that. And you were
working
that night with us.
Yeah, you met him. Yeah. Poor guy, man. He passed away after the Sacramento show. I was telling you that. They did a show in Sacramento.
Oh, that's the one that he invited you to.
Right.
And you didn't make it, and he died that night.
Right, that evening.
Ouch.
And I was just like,
Ouch.
I felt, because we were getting ready to go out on the road, and I wanted to spend my last night with my wife, Shay. But, and so I stayed home and didn't go, and, it's things that you can't take back that you regret.
Yeah.
Just seeing somebody for the last time or something like that.
It's got to be tough.
Terrible.
Let me take a little commercial break here, and then we'll continue with Marko's life on the road. Why not? As a roadie, but not. We don't need a technician, a guitar technician.
Yes.
That's more dignified, isn't it?
That is.
Uh-huh. We'll be right back. This is KMJ.
Number 1 in the Valley. This is the Ray Appleton Show.
We are talking to my pal Marko, who has been with Tesla. That's a band, for those of you who don't know. Not the real Tesla who's long been dead, or anything to do with the cars, for a long, long time as a guitar technician. How many years now? I asked you, but I went in one ear and out the other.
It's been 22 years.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 22 years.
Oy, oy, oy. Yeah. Often, you guys go out and you'll headline your own tour. Sometimes you go out and you open for somebody else.
Right.
Who's the craziest act that Tesla has opened up for?
Oh, craziest.
Crazy from the aspect it was a lot of fun, or, oh my God, I wouldn't do that again if my life depended on it.
Geez, man, there's so many crazy bands out there. No, probably the most fun, always Def Leppard, because they're like family.
You guys do a lot of work together.
Yeah.
Tons.
They're like family, It's
That's
like,
cool.
it's all family oriented, It's it's good like that. Poison's another fun one to be around. It's hard to say.
I hear it's a lot of fun to work with Alice, and I know you guys have
had
to work with Cooper once or twice.
I love all those guys, man. Tommy's him and his family have been friends with Jeff forever. It's basically a lot of fun to be around a lot of guys.
In 22 years, though, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes.
Yeah.
I mean, as you grow up, you probably get a little mellower, too, when it comes to whatever one might used to do before you went on stage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been lucky enough because my friend Peter was a photographer for the Stones for a long time.
Right.
And I went a number of backstage affairs with the Stones, and it went from you-know-what to exercise equipment to bottled water to fruit,
right.
to, that type of thing.
Right.
Whereas before, it certainly wasn't bottled water or exercise equipment or fruit.
Right.
Yeah, so things do change.
Right. Changed a lot, and we won't talk about any of that stuff.
No. But people know.
Yeah, when you're young, you're crazy. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
You do a lot of crazy, stupid things, and
Now, did I hear that you've got a new drummer?
Yeah, we do. Steve Brown.
Yeah.
He's Mick Brown's little brother. Steve has been with Montrose and Oleander, and but yeah, he was with Ronnie up until the end.
What happened with the original drummer?
Troy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get involved in that.
Okay, all right.
I won't get involved in any of that.
So this is a new permanent arrangement.
I don't know.
You don't get involved with that either.
I don't get it.
You're probably smart not to get involved with that.
I don't want to know. I don't need to know. If I don't need to know, I don't want to know.
Just take care of your guitars and move on, right?
Yes, as long as we're touring, that's all I care about.
You like to tour?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's the wife say about that?
She likes it when I leave.
Okay.
No, that's not true. Shay's really good. As a matter of fact, she works at night at the VA, so it's hard to have any time. We see each other mostly on the weekend, but when I'm gone, it gives us that space away from each other. She likes that.
Does she ever join you on the road?
There's a few times that she does come to, like, when we do the Monster of Rock cruise. Sometimes she'll come out. She hasn't for the past 4 years. One of her friends passed away tragically, and so she hasn't come out there in the past 4 or 5 years. Since that's happened, since we moved in here back to Fresno. 4 years ago. How
much longer do you think you can do this, or have you put a timeline on it?
I'm not going to put any timelines on anything. Last year I almost, I got called to go tech for Joe Perry and for Bon Jovi, and unfortunately I had to let those go. There was no guarantees, so that was one of the big deals.
That's got to be
me.
tough. No guarantee, as long as you've been in it,
right? So, well, no. I mean, they were trying. The guy that called me, John, he was trying to set me up, and then it wasn't going to work out. Plus, a bunch of dates had dropped in with Tesla, and so I had to go with the sure thing.
Right.
And then it was a good thing I did, because after that, I think I was supposed to leave May 29th or something like that of last year, and then Steve Perry had to go into, or not Steve, but
Joe.
Steven Tyler had to go. He ended up in rehab.
Yeah,
right.
Again.
Yeah. So there's no guarantees. There's not even a guarantee with this band. Who if our singer is going to be okay or not. He could get COVID or something, and like when COVID in 2020, when we all started to go back out again, 2021. I think it was 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
We started to go back out in August, and it was the first time out, right? And we were in rehearsals and stuff like that for like a week, and we started to head out, and we did 2 shows, and everybody ended up dropping with COVID. That's the first time I got it. We all had to turn around and come home. We only made it to Oregon,
How long? I mean, how long were you guys off the road during that whole pandemic?
So we had just finished up with the Monster of Rock cruise and did a whole tour in February of 2020. And so we were supposed to start back up in mid-March, and we got the call on March 1st that everything was getting shut down. So we got shut down March 1st, and we were off from March 1st of 2020 all the way to August of 2021.
That's got to be hard.
Yeah, it was tough.
I mean,
everybody's bank account went.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you do for income?
Right. Unemployment.
Yeah,
unemployment.
Hello. Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, the country was shut down that year. There was nothing we could do.
I hope
basically,
we
it
never
was
go through that again.
I don't ever want to go through that again.
Just horrible.
Yeah.
If you weren't
still trying to recover.
If you weren't doing this, what would you be doing?
Okay. So
I mean, you talked about fire science and all that,
right? And I was a contractor too, so I've designed buildings and stuff like that. I've designed recording studios. As a matter of fact, I'm leaving Wednesday to New York to go finish a recording studio I designed for Brian.
I was going to say, it's Brian's, right?
Yeah.
Your bass player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done 3 studios for him now.
Wasn't happy with the first 2?
No, they were in Sacramento, and he moved to Texas first, and then that was pretty tragic, and then he moved to New York after that.
Why was it tragic?
He has these Jack Russell Terriers, and one of them got bit in the eye by a rattlesnake. And it was, it destroyed his wife. It was horrible. I felt really bad for them. And
Taking the dog didn't make it?
No, she got bit in the eye.
That would move me too.
Yeah,
as much as I love my pets.
Yeah,
I'm out.
I'm
gone.
They didn't want to be there anymore, and it was just like, it was crazy.
I mean, is that tough having everybody live in all different places? I mean, it's like a 5-man band with you guys that back them up, and everybody lives somewhere but not together.
Yeah, it's pretty scattered. So
all used to be Sacramento,
right?
But those days are long over.
Right. This band's a pretty well-oiled machine. It's these guys can be a year off of each other. Come right in, and it's like they never left.
Yeah.
There's a little rust here and there, but nothing. 1 day or 2 days of rehearsal, doesn't take care of.
Does anybody still live in Sacramento?
Jeff is the only one. Jeff and Steve Brown live in Sacramento, in the Sacramento area. Frank is in the process of moving to Florida, and his father-in-law lives there, and his wife is there right now taking care of him. Which his father-in-law is Dickie Betts, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, his father-in-law.
Two of the Allman Brothers.
Allman Brothers, Rambling Man.
Man,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Now, whose father-in-law is he? Which one?
He's Frank's. Frank
Oh,
Hannon.
okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense for some reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
I was there when he met Christy. It was my first day out on the road with Tesla.
Uh-huh.
It was in North Carolina, and that's where Christy lived, in North Carolina, and that was the first time they met each other, and it was pretty funny.
Stars.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking to my friend Marko for a little bit longer here. He's I always want to say a roadie, but he's a technician with Tesla. Tesla's been around a long time. How long has Tesla?
All right, let's get it right. I'm a guitar tech.
What'd I say?
No, I'm just kidding.
You're just playing with me. How long has Tesla been together?
Tesla's been together.
You've been with them 22 years, but
right. I got called in 01, I believe it was 01, when Steve Emler had been working with him. They were doing a live album, and they were all out of tune, and they had me go in to see why. And here's the reason why. They're all using these like little tiny cheap tuners,
Magic fingers, magic springs.
And I go, you got to have a professional tuner, man. You got to have one of these, to be in tune. And guitars have to be intonated. They can't. Otherwise, it's going to sound. It's going to sound terrible.
I'm a very basic bass player, but it's such a difference with my instruments after you've played with them a little bit. It's like getting a whole new toy all over again. You know?
Right. They play like they should play.
Yeah, I guess that's one way to look at it. Let's duck out for a little news. We'll continue on KMJ.
Exercising his First Amendment rights 3 hours a day. Ray Appleton is on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Life on the Road with Marko. As a guitar tech for Tesla. For goodness sakes. Now, questions, comments about his life? I mean, anything you'd like to know? It could be kind of fun. 490-5858. And toll free from anywhere in the state. Or if you're listening online throughout the country, easy. 800-776-5858. Don't forget, we've got tickets to give away for Jose's next fight, March the 25th. At the Save Mart Center, and we'll do that before we get out of here at 2. So that's going to happen pretty soon, if you're a boxing fanatic like me. I knew we'd get this question, Marko, if I had you in. You do a lot of work with guitars. Do you do it for the public, or is it just for the bands?
No, I do. I'll do it for whoever, wants something done when I'm home, and I have time off. Yeah, I don't mind. I enjoy
because I've got
guitars.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 messages from guitarists out there going, "Hey, man, I need this guy."
Yeah.
I mean, do you have I know you as you, but do you have a company name?
No, not really.
All right. Well, what if somebody wanted you to do a little work? How would they get a hold of you?
Well, it's basically just my number. Give up my number. Sometimes it's okay, but
do you want to give out your? I mean, there's only a couple million people. Listening.
Yeah. We can give. I guess I can give out my number. If it gets crazy, I'll just get another.
Well, then do it.
Number. Okay, my number's 916-224-5252. Again, 916-224-5252.
Stop interrupting so we can hear the whole thing there. Does great work. So, I mean, guitar or bass. I mean, if you got problems.
Yes.
My friend, Mr. Smart, who had that weird bass, that 5-string.
Yeah.
You worked, he thinks you're God. I mean, that thing hasn't worked for a couple of years.
Apparently. It was in bad shape. It was way out of intonation. The action was so high. It was in bad shape. The battery box in the back of the bass was, it had been destroyed. A
lot of people forget that they got a battery in the back of their guitar.
Right.
I've done that once or twice.
No, I mean, I don't know how that happened, but stuff happens. I mean, basses and guitars sometimes get, knocked around.
So, are you a musician?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you play?
I can play guitar.
Cool. All right. I knew that, but I just, asking that for the audience sake.
Yeah. It helps to know, it helps to play and know, how a guitar's supposed to sound and work. It's, basically, what's funny is that, that being able to play and knowing how a guitar works. When I was a kid, I tore my guitar apart. I mean, completely destroyed it. I had
just
to put it back
together. You were curious?
Well, I was curious.
So kind of reverse engineered it?
Yeah, it was Black Les Paul. I tore it apart.
Oh, God.
I tore it completely apart.
A Black Les Paul?
Yeah.
Eee!
Tore it completely apart and rebuilt it.
Was it okay after you rebuilt it?
Yeah, it was better.
But of course. I mean, it had to be better.
Of course it was.
It's amazing.
No, I didn't know what I was doing.
Well, obviously, I mean, if you got it back together and it was working, you figured something out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What amazes me is how do you keep track of all the instruments these guys take on the road? I mean, I'm sure they have their favorites, but, I think about my collection. I got umpteen million of them. I don't have that many anymore, but still, is there a limit?
No.
As to what they can take on the road?
Not really. I mean, they don't, they have some that are up in the attic of the bus that sometimes rides there, for 2 years, 3 years before before it comes out of the truck, and it's this, it depends on, every guitar. Let me put it this way: every guitar is set up for specific tunings, specific songs,
right?
And because these guys use 3 different tunings, yeah.
Yeah, I can remember when there were no different tunings, and
Right.
now there's umpteen million different tunings. Thank you,
Right.
Keith Richards.
Right.
So many of these guys
It's-
invent their own way to play guitar.
Right, and every guitar has a different flavor,
Yeah.
tone. I like calling it flavor. So a specific guitar is set up for what you give. There's a specific tone, so and also for love song, specific guitar. And so it just every night it's the same thing. Those guitars are used specifically for a set of songs that they want them.
Well, for that reason,
particular
then I have
flavor.
to ask, how often does the set list change? It seems like when you go out on the road, it's got to be pretty solid.
Well, if we're doing a tour, sometimes when we fall too close to a city that we're only going 150 miles away or something like that, the fans are going to
Oh, the
go
followers,
from
yeah,
followers are going to come to the next show. We'll change the set, a couple songs out of the set, But for the most part, these guys will do all the hits. Most of the hits, not all of them. Sorry, let me retract that. Most of the hits and a couple of new songs here and there. But for the most part, it's basically the same thing.
How's my friend Mr. Rude?
Dave's doing great, man.
Yeah.
He's
the
fantastic.
Newey, other than the drummer. Yeah.
Dave is teaching. I'm sure he's teaching right now online. I don't know who, but he's got a lot of students.
And he teaches them online?
Yeah,
that's
he
very
teaches
cool.
them online.
Wow.
And get this, one of the kids, that I've seen a lot of his students, but men, women, there's but one of the kids that is his student actually came to one of the shows in the Midwest, and I showed him a guitar, one of the acoustic guitars, and he ended up loving the guitar, and man, that kid could play. I was like, dang. Dave's a great
You bring him
teacher.
up on stage and let him play?
No. He lets him play the guitars, but doesn't. No, never as a guest player.
Not at that stage
No.
yet. You're pulling somebody out.
No, the only time we'll do something like that is like Phil X came up. Phil X has been on the road the past couple of last months of last year, and 3 shows, 2 in Texas and in Tampa in January. But Phil's got up and played signs with the guys. That kind
Cool.
of thing.
Phone calls. Clint, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, it's Clint.
Hey, Clint, how you
Marco,
doing?
How's it going, man? I had a question for you.
Yeah, shoot
as
away.
a mediocre guitar player, I have a Floyd Rose tremolo set up. Any
Yes.
advice for keeping that thing in tune?
Okay, so with the Floyd, they always have to be perfectly level. The bridge system itself, it's like a balancing act. It's considered a floating bridge. So, those things constantly, it's always best when you change strings on those, not to change them more than, do them one at a time, because when you get it all set up and stuff like that, it's hard to keep it in tune, So if you don't know what you're doing with the Floyd, one of those that's a very, very tricky.
I don't even know
tremolo.
that brand. Yeah, that's a new one for me.
A Floyd Rose?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's one of those ones where you dive bomb. Yeah.
Oh.
But
Speaking of Ronnie Montrose.
it's a tremolo. It's a tremolo on the
Yeah.
on the guitar, but everything locks into place.
Cool.
But yeah, if that thing's not perfectly balanced, you probably need some adjustment on it, in the back of the guitar, and they're spring loaded, so sometimes the springs go bad, but yeah, if you got it, if it's adjusted right, it should stay in tune.
So there. Hey, this was cool. I'm glad you made it in.
Hey, I'm glad you had me.
Yeah,
come
it's
in.
fun. Just something different there. And thank you for delivering my bass that you've had for 6 months. That's my fault.
Don't worry about it, man. You had some problems.
Yeah, just a couple little things slowing me down there, but I can't wait to take it home and play it. So, when are you going back out again?
We go out on March 14th. We do a show in Reading, and then we go do our residency in Vegas for a couple of weeks, and then come home for a week, and not even a week, like 4 days, and then we go out again. We're gonna just be bouncing around for a while, most of April.
Viva Las Vegas!
Yeah.
All right. You stay safe.
Thank you, Ray.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
This is Cam J.